Atari has been rolling right along with all sorts of updates for the VCS and now for the Atari 2600 and 7800 Plus. What's going on, everyone? It's Rich Haywood here for Bacon Ice Cream Productions and Team RTFC, welcoming you to yet another episode of the Good Times Newsline Flashcast. Yeah, that's right. We've got some news of the Atari variety. This is just the general Atari news update. This isn't the Atari VCS news update. But yeah, just the Atari news update. I actually got an email from Atari about this subject, so I didn't have to go to scour the very nice and very cool Discord, Atari Club. I think there's a description down below. I didn't have to go rummage through a news article. The email came right to my inbox. I was like, that's pretty cool. What does this have to say? It says, hey, there's a new update available for Atari 2600 and 7800 Plus systems. Go ahead and click this link. The update includes increased game compatibility for homebrew games created by the Atari community, paddle support fixes, and other minor bug fixes. Click the link below and instructions on how to download and install the firmware for both consoles. They also say you'll want to take some simple steps to update the firmware to the latest version 2.0.1.4. And they've improved the update process, so updates are easier than before. Seems pretty cool. So I figured, you know what? With this update for the Atari 2600 and 7800 Plus, I think this video should be kind of like a walkthrough of the website itself, because there is a website on Atari.com in their blog newsroom section that actually has a walkthrough, a very detailed walkthrough on how to update it. Again, not having to go to a Discord and then to the Atari Age forums to then do whatever. And again, hats off to the Atari Age forum guys that are actually part of the teams that make these updates possible. No qualms at all with you guys. But I applaud Atari for actually putting this together, putting it on their official website, and having a really nice article drawn up. So kudos to whoever at Atari drew this up. And also kudos to Dave, because I can see him. I can see him in the thumbnails of the videos for creating videos on going to how to do this process. Now, obviously, this might be a little redundant with me going through the process myself, but I'm just a fan going through the things. If you want the official, the link will be it's on Atari.com. So the link will be down below in the description. Go over to the website, check your emails, sign up to the newsletter if you haven't already, and check this all out. I think it's really cool, and it's just something that I wanted to kind of like spotlight and give everybody some more information about how all this stuff is going down, because it kind of took me aback. I'm like, whoa, Atari is coming up with all these nice little technical documents about their things that came out 2 or more years ago. It's cool. I'm liking it. Just like I'm liking the continued efforts on the Atari VCS store. This is a nice story. I think it's really cool. So let's dig in. It says updating Atari 2600 Plus and 7800 Plus firmware. Updating your firmware on Atari 2600 and 7800 Plus is a quick and easy process. Depending upon your computer setup, you might have to proceed with an admin password for portions of the installation process. They're talking about the what the heck is the name, acronym of that? The Windows security thing. Was it UAE or something like that, or whatever? The box, the security box that comes up. So if you're on a domain join machine and you have an administrator password, you're gonna have to put that in order to do that. If you have another level of security based on your Windows stuff, you're gonna have to do that. There's more geek speak, but most of you guys are gonna be fine. You're gonna have the little box that says yes, no, and yes. Okay. The process will update your console to firmware version 2.0.1.4. Download the file first and follow the instructions below. You can kind of see my little guy here. This down here says required download on the bottom of the page. You want to download that tool for the specific console that you have. I will show you in a bit what it looks like. Because after we download this, we're going to actually go through the process right on this video. How about that? All right, so the update includes a much simpler firmware update process than previous versions, which would be cool to see. And increased game compatibility for homebrew games, in the air quotes there, but I guess that means just anything that's not official, that made by Atari or whatever. So maybe even like like older homebrew games that were not in the original set that they tested, which would be frankly kind of cool. PAL support fixes, high score support for NTSC PAL retail games and some homebrew games. High score support. That's cool. All right. We'll check it out. Other minor bug fixes, and then it says before you begin, in order to update the firmware on this, you'll need to use a Windows 10 or 11 based PC, so no Macs for this version. Download and run the application before you start, and there it is. I downloaded the 7800 Plus updater because I still have mine in its box. And then we're just going to do it. We're just going to boom, turn it on and update it. All right, 2600 plus instructions, scroll down for 7800. So I'm just going to go over the 2600 instructions, and then we're actually going to do the process for the 7800 plus. It's probably going to be very similar. Click start on the update tool, turn the power switch to the 7800, 2600, and turn off the power switch, and unplug the USB-C power cable from the power block. Then connect a power cable connected to a powered USB port on your PC or laptop. The 2600 will now be powered via computer. Note, you do not need an HDMI connection for this update. So you just literally need that one cable. Click next on the update tool. Look at that. A little picture of the 2600 Plus. It's pretty cool. Set the TV type to black and white. Hold down the game select switch and quickly flip the power switch on. Continue to hold the game select for 3 seconds before releasing. I guess that turns it into a boot mode where it's going to start looking as if it was kind of a USB flash drive kind of situation, that kind of thing. So that the update tool can find out, oh, this is a thing you want me to write to. Click the update button on your screen. All right. Power off the 2600 Plus when the updater instructs you to do so. And then click next. And then set the TV switch to color. Hold down the game reset switch. And then quickly flip the power button on. Continue to hold the game reset for 3 seconds before releasing. And then click update. Should take about 1 minute to complete. Was that redundant? Set to the turn it on. Click next. Power off. I guess maybe it writes files to it and then it wants you to do it again. All right. And then, yeah, and then it finishes and it says finish and then you're done. And this is a walkthrough from DavePo right here, another updater video from DavePo, who's now an Atari employee. Makes great videos, makes great instructional videos. I would highly encourage you watching that video, maybe even above mine. We'll see. We'll see what happens if I can read the the instructions without having to watch the video. We'll see what happens. But that's that. And then the 7800 Plus instructions, that'll be different because they have different buttons. These are the push buttons. There's not the switches or anything like that. So it says click start on the update tool. Okay. So now let's switch. Let's switch. Present. Window. There it is. There's the updater tool. It says click start. All right. Step 1, unplug the USB-C cable for the power block. Connect the power cable to a powered USB port on the PC. Yes. Yes. And no HDMI connection. Okay. Yeah. It does say connect the power cable to the thing. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then it wants me to click next. Holding the select button, turn the power on. Hold the select button. 1, 2, 3, and then hit update. Device detected in ISP mode. Okay. Well, look at the progress indicator. Do. It didn't say power off. Oh, now it does. Okay, power off. All right, we did it. Next, while holding the reset button, turn the power on. One, 2, 3 again. And then we hit update. Starting update. Initializing device, checking firmware. Going through the progress. It'll take approximately 1 minute to complete. And then it should say success at the end of that. It's riveting, I know. I'm actually kind of excited. It says success, update complete. And then we hit finish. You may now disconnect your 7800 plus from your PC. So we're going to do that by hitting the power button and then disconnecting it. And there you go. We did a thing. And we should now have a handy dandy updated Atari 7800 plus. So that's kind of cool. So we'll have to do some more videos about and with this little guy to understand what we just did, you know, with doing the updates and all that kind of stuff. So that's very cool. It's all updated. You can put it back in a box here, and then we'll get ready to hang out and play with this guy when next we can. And there it is. So there we go. That was pretty easy. That was you know, in a normal video time frame, we were able to read the article, go through the process on a real device, hit some buttons, bing, bang, boom, and we got a little device that's updated. I got to do the same thing to the 2600 plus when I get back over to Studio B, but that's pretty cool. So, and I look forward to finding out all about the new updates on the homebrew games and the paddle support and high score support. High score support's pretty cool. I want to check that out. That'd be kind of neat, right? So anyway, that was the story of the Atari 2600 7800 plus update adventure. But again, it's cool to get the email, to get the process, to get everything going, to bing boom. It's neat. That was neat. So thanks, Atari. Thanks, Dave. Thanks to the Atari Age community who obviously kickstarted this a little bit ago, and just thanks to the Discord folks as well, because I'm sure that there's news floating around all over there. On the Atari VCS side of things, I did check the store today to see if there's new games that have dropped. Nothing of yet. This is around 2:30 in the afternoon on a Friday here at Studio A, and there is not yet new games on the Atari VCS store except for Colorful Boy 2, which we did download. We got a Fun for 5 that, so that'll probably be to kick off the next week. We'll probably be doing that kind of stuff. I got my stack, which is pretty fat actually now, of Polymega stuff that we're going to be checking out. We're going to start really diving into these collections before I get into Evercade range. And even the Evercade, we got some cool things coming up on a project with regards to Evercade that I think everyone will enjoy, including me, because you know what? Gosh darn it, I really miss playing some games, and I think we're going to do just that very, very soon. Speaking of games, though, next video you might see has to do with this box back here. And in that box is a whole bunch of games that need to be installed on my Polymega, some of which don't come from this country. We're going to see how Polymega handles them. So keep an eye on those things and all that more coming on to a screen near you if you're subscribed here to Bacon Ice Cream Productions. And if you're not, hit the red button. It's free. Hit the red bell, or the bell for notifications too. And then when my face talks to your face, then you'll know. It'll be cool. All right. So before we get out of here, we got to do one thing and one thing only. And you know what that is. That is just, we need to thank every single member of, you guessed it, the Good Times Club. So we got to let everybody know that, hey, you know, it's time. It's time to do the thing where we thank everybody. So let's do that right now. Let's thank the EverCanadian, Crimson Cross, George Games, Chris Westerman, Phantom Fiction, Lloyd R. Jim, Papa Pete, the Intellivision Gamer, Ken LaCure, Mr. Shua, John Willett, Gunsy20, Herb Wars, DF, Joe Whitlash, David Valdez, Dr. Markman, Scientist, Dan Nastic, Alex Groot, The Immortal Sojourn, The Atari Creep, and Super Mega Graphics 64. Thank you guys all so much for being members, for hanging out with us, for doing all sorts of cool stuff, like giving us 1080p StreamYard glory, which we were able to successfully renew, which actually it was just this past couple days or whatever we had the renewal had to put through. And it's because of you guys that we're able to afford it and not only have it here, but over on Ed's channel, the Evercade Effect and the Evercast and Calling All Retro Gamers. So we thank you for your support, as always. For that, want to become a member, hit the join button. Going to join on in. We can hang out, have fun, and all that kind of fun stuff. If not, that's cool. Leave likes, leave dislikes, and definitely leave comments. And until next time, we will catch you next time for some good times. I'm Rich, and we will see you later. Take it easy, guys.
RTFC.baconicecream.com